Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. So happy to have you with us here tonight. Happy Memorial Day. Although I have to say that with the cold and the rainy weather we had over this past weekend, it feels like it should be more like Veterans Day. My name is Nicholas Viselli, and I am the artistic director of Theater Breaking Through Barriers. And I am coming to you live from deep inside the heart of the Thunderdome here in Midtown Manhattan. And I want to cordially welcome all of you to the opening night of our fifth Virtual Playmakers Intensive, or VPI 5 time capsule. Few things that are really exciting. First of all, I said that I'm coming to you from the heart of the Thunderdome. I usually say from high atop. Well, that's because we have now switched from transmitting live from what was our apartment, which were our offices, to our new office space here at Building for the Arts Theater Row, right on 42nd Street. So we have now moved from the 43rd floor to the 4th floor, and we are deep in the heart of the Thunderdome. So time is such a wild and strange concept, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to believe that a year ago tonight, we were wrapping up our first Virtual Playmakers Intensive. And now, 365 days later, we begin our fifth online endeavor. So much has happened over this past year, our last journey around the sun, and yet it feels as if no time has elapsed since this project began. Last May 31st, we were going through the first wave of a global pandemic, not certain of how long it would last. Businesses and schools were closed for just over 2 months at this point. At 7 o'clock each evening, New Yorkers expressed their gratitude to all of the frontline workers by going out, opening their windows, and banging on pots and pans. Our country was reeling from the murder of George Floyd. That happened 5 days earlier, and we were all struggling to cope with what we were then calling a new normal. This time last year, the COVID-19 vaccine was still an idea that hadn't been tested. Theaters, which had been really struggling since we were forced to close on March 12th, had begun experimenting with virtual theater as a possible lifeboat to keep us all productive and connected until we could once again gather to celebrate our art. And it was during this time when we began this virtual experiment, which has truly managed to serve us in ways that we couldn't even imagine. From TBTV's perspective, over these past 15 months, we discovered quickly that smaller arts organizations, such as ours, possessed an inherent advantage in the midst of a global pandemic. With a smaller administrative team already operating conservatively, we were able to remain light in the water as it rose around us. Not only were we able to stay afloat, but our size afforded a terrific sense of maneuverability, which enabled us to experiment with this new programming. And it provided us with a whole new level upon which to build and develop work. Since last May, we created 5 Virtual Playmakers Intensives, and we created over 55 original short plays, and we worked together with over 270 artists. So without boasting, I think that we can say that TBTV was one of the lucky ones during this pandemic. I mean, we've managed to stay productive during these dark days, but we've actually grown in so many ways. And none of this would have been possible without all of the artists who have taken part in all of our intensives, and all of our artists who will be taking part of the events that you'll be seeing over the next 14 days. So I hope you'll tune in every night. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to present some of our most exciting new work. We're working with so many outstanding artists, many of whom that you know already from our past work, and so many that you have not yet met, but we're so excited to work with. So with all that said, I am so thrilled to be kicking off the opening night of our 5th Virtual Playmakers Intensive. Tonight's show, when I first read it, I said, this is the play that we have to kick off the intensive with tonight. It was written by the amazing KATHRYN Grant. Kate has written so many shows for us when we were doing live intensives, and she's, I think, written for every one of our, I think every one of our intensives. I don't know if she wrote for the last one, but this play is incredible. It was directed by Kristin Heckler. Oh, amazing, Kristin. And we have an incredible cast: Ben Rauch, David Harrell, John Little. Oh, and a little special incentive. There is some music that is played throughout that was performed by Ilyas Satrakian, who also happens to be Kate, and Ed Satrakian, who's also an incredible director who directed with us last time. So I hope you'll be listening out for that. So without any further ado, I want to turn the program over to our golden voiced audio describer, Anne-Marie Morelli. And I'd like you all to sit back and enjoy our show tonight. Anne-Marie, please take it away.
Thanks, Nick. Hello, everyone. I'm Anne-Marie Morelli, and I will be providing any necessary audio description for tonight's play. Firstly, I would like to remind you all that during our virtual Playmakers Intensive, our stage is your computer screen. That said, currently, the stage is dark. When the play begins, each character will appear in their own separate box on your screen. Tonight's play is The Middle-Aged Men's Romantic Movie Club, written by KATHRYN Grant and directed by Kristin Heckler. It features John Little as Bert, David Harrell as Carmine, and Ben Rauch as Andy. At the top of the play, 3 men on a Zoom call. Bert is in his 60s. He's wearing a red polo shirt sitting in his bedroom. Carmine is in his 40s, wearing a gray sleeveless tee and backwards cap, sitting in his basement. Andy is in his 30s, wearing a black graphic tee and loose-fitting cap, sitting in his kitchen. As the movie ends, they are openly weeping.
God.
Wow, I can't. Give me a minute.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was just.
No apologies. You're good, brother.
Oh boy.
I must have seen it 6 times, and it just still packs a punch.
Never fails.
Ah, it's so good. I got like the cry hiccups.
Once the Count has to leave KATHRYN half dead in the cave of the swimmers, I was gone. And when she says, "Every night I cut you out of my heart, but in the morning, my heart was
full again." So much love.
Yes, in so many forms. The love of the nurse for the English patient, the love of a man, of a woman, the love of comrades in a war.
When the Sikh guy, what's his name? Kip? When he flies Juliette Binoche in the contraption in the church and she sees the Renaissance murals.
Forget about it.
She's swimming around the church, she's swinging around the church like Kathy Rigby and Peter Pan.
Heart-stopping.
And her guts.
Oh.
She fucking stayed behind to save the English patient.
Struck out on her own. Set up camp in the ruined villa.
And the war's drawing to a close, and the landmines and scavengers everywhere. I mean, that took balls of steel.
And then she's this Canadian girl from a small town, and the war has scarred her, but it also reshaped her sense of her own possibilities.
And then when she helps the English patient, and when he pushes the morphine toward her, and like, she knows it's time. It's time.
Here we go again.
I can't even say it.
Here we go again.
I don't understand. How can people mock this movie? It's the music, the lighting. Bert, thank you for encouraging us to watch it again. This must be my 5th time, and I think I finally understand the plot.
The year it came out, I saw it 4 times on the QT, you know. I mean, you don't want people to know that you're a fanatic for high-end romantic movies.
Hell no. My business would take a hit. Who would trust a plumber who cries during Out of Africa?
I'm a cop. Who would take me seriously? Can you imagine? I have a reputation to defend. I had to work hard to get them to accept me with my disability and everything, and now I got them just where I want them. They call me the collar king in the precinct.
Well, I think of myself as a tough guy, but I must have something in me that screams soft touch. Back when we did training indoors, I was in the locker room getting ready to go over the plays with the team, and someone brought up the topic of movies. And one of my players, my quarterback, said to me, "Coach, I bet I know what your favorite movie is." I said, okay. What is it, smart guy? I thought for sure he'd get it wrong. Like he would say, National Lampoon 3 or Pulp Fiction or some other violent, sexist piece of junk. I mean, I am the football coach. But the kid looked at me with a nasty sneer, and he said, "Your favorite movie is The English Patient."
How did he know? You're kind of macho.
I think so, but that kind of threw me.
So what? So what? You have taste, that little shit.
I know. What's wrong with people?
So what did he do? Did he know he got it right?
No, I lied. I said my favorite movie was The Revenant. And I turned bright red. The whole team knew. They started chanting, "Coach loves the English patient. Coach loves the English patient."
There is so much that is wrong about that.
There is. Why should we have to hide? My wife doesn't even know my proclivities. I do this when she's at work.
Yeah. Nanette hasn't a clue either. But I didn't tell you.
What? What?
She caught me last week.
Oh, no. I saw you cut out. I thought you lost your Wi-Fi.
No. And of course, we were watching the greatest movie of all times, Sense and Sensibility. Kate Winslet is dying of consumption, and her sister, Emma Thompson.
I love her.
Kate is laying there in the coma, and Emma throws her body across Kate and begs, "Oh, please, dear, please try. You have to try. Do go on living. Don't leave me, darling. I couldn't bear it."
Exquisite.
And of course, you know me. I was a puddle on the floor.
Me too. Niagara Falls.
Well, what happened?
Lynette got home early from work. She turned on the lights. She took one look at my puffy eyes and the laptop I was hiding against my chest, and she screamed, "You son of a bitch!" Then she lunged at the laptop, but I held on to it. We wrestled for a bit, and then I fessed up. I told her that I was screen sharing Sense and Sensibility with 2 of my buddies I knew from volunteer firefighting.
Oh, shit.
She said, "Oh, stop. I know what you've been doing, holding up in the basement all this time." She grabbed the laptop, certain she was gonna see Debbie Does Dallas or some other porn crap.
Oh, my God.
She looked. There was Kate Winslet marrying Colonel Brandon, and Emma marrying Mr. Ferraris.
Jane Austen loves a wedding.
Who doesn't?
Oh, so what did she do when she saw it?
She laughed. In fact, she got hysterical.
That's so sad.
What grown man watches Sense and Sensibility with his bros? What's next on the docket? Little Women? Waiting to Exhale?
What's wrong with waiting to exhale? It's Whitney Houston.
No.
I couldn't stop crying, even with her laughing at me. And I was just whimpering a little. And stop! You're bugging me.
And they wonder why we keep this a secret.
I married does not watch chick flicks. Why can't you watch what ordinary men watch, like There Will Be Blood or Hangover 3?
Ugh.
Wait, what did you say then? Oh no, Andy, you froze. Bert, I hope he comes back. I don't know what we're gonna do.
I don't know. So
Wendy doesn't know. I'm not gonna tell her.
no. So what are we cowering for, huh? We have nothing to feel bad about.
I agree to cry in front of other men. It is a gift.
Yeah.
And it's not like I don't have things to cry about at my job.
Yeah.
I mean, all the addiction I see, the bloodbath car accidents and everything. I mean, there's plenty to make you cry and everything. It's like I walk around with this big ball of misery, Bert, in my stomach. But then I think about Wendy. Oh, Andy, I'm sorry. We're just saying, why do we have to cower around, Because there's so much that can make me cry at my work. All the crap that I see every day. Every day I see stuff that makes you cry. And I walk around with this big ball of misery in my stomach. But when I look at my wife, Wendy, and I look at what she's got to do, all the stuff that she carries, the miscarriage, the death of her mother, and homeschooling the kids, I can't cry. Not with Wendy. Not when I'm alone. That's why I need the movies.
Oh, it's more than just emotional release. These movies remind us how beautiful life is.
And how short. Death's always hovering there in the background, isn't it?
You got a fucking way with words, dude.
I have to tell you something, guys.
Is something the matter?
Maybe, I don't know. I was walking alone in a wildlife area near our home. It was kind of a gray day, and I was feeling a little blue. We haven't seen the kids. Marcia's gone all day working, and I give a couple of online classes, but other than that, my life's a little empty. So I walked, and little by little, I started to feel more and more a part of the gray landscape. The soft blanket of pine needles under my feet, the smell of the impending rain, the gentle thunder and the soft wind. And I just stood there for a moment. And then I heard the most unearthly, agonized moan. It seemed to express everything inside me. Where did this moan come from? And then rising out of the brush, this creature rose up. First, its incredibly tree-like antlers, and then its long snout with its quivering nostrils, and up. It must have been 10 feet tall. It was a bull moose.
What? That's crazy.
No, we have them on Long Island. One-stop traffic on Route 28.
Really? I had no idea in all my years.
I wasn't afraid at all. We stood looking at each other for the longest time, and pretty soon we were breathing together.
Communing with a moose.
Awesome.
And then it started braying again. And I joined in.
You're lucky it didn't charge you.
I wasn't worried. Like St. Francis said, it was me and Brother Moose.
I'm not sure St. Francis said that.
And then with a little salute from his antlers, the moose turned slowly and returned into the brush. And I walked home, back to our little house in a cookie-cutter development with its manicured lawns and 2 cars in the driveway. Marcia had just walked in. She just got back from the clinic exhausted, and I told her to sit down. She was a little scared, like she expected me to ask her for a divorce. I told her what just happened to me, and she started to cry. I'm a little jealous of that moose, she said. You've been so distant. I'm lonely. She looked so beautiful, and her sadness and her heroism with her months of sacrifice at the clinic. Just as beautiful as Hannah. No, more beautiful. Because unlike Juliette Binoche, she was sitting right here in front of me.
Did you tell her?
No, not yet. I will, though. I wanted to discuss it with you guys first.
What are you saying, Bert?
Guys,
What, Bert?
What's wrong?
I think something has got to change. The pandemic is loosening its grip. I'll be doing in-person classes again.
Well, we can move our time.
No, I don't think so. I won't have the time to watch with you guys anymore. All the extras I used to do. Marcia has this gourmet dinner club we go to, and we'll start going to church, vacations, visiting the kids.
But we can fit it in.
I think it's time that we find a way. I don't know how to say this. All of us found something with each other.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Nothing, but maybe sneaking around like this isn't so great.
It's not ideal, but...
Maybe everything we look for in the movies, maybe it's right there in front of us.
I don't know about that. The guys at the precinct do not let themselves get carried away with a sunset.
Well, how do we know that? We don't. We found each other.
No, Bert, I caught you watching Splenda in the Grass on your cell phone. And we had a fucking discussion about the common themes in Wordsworth and Natalie Wood.
And so it all began.
But you heard how my wife pounded me.
Well, maybe she's afraid you won't be able to protect her.
And the truth of it is, we don't have much control. Be honest. It sucks.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could share our suffering together?
Bert, you are a sage. I think I'm gonna cry again.
Okay, I've cried enough.
It passed.
Bird is right, Andy. I'm going to treat Wendy like KATHRYN Clifton. I'm going to welcome her home from work with the kids at a babysitter, a nice spaghetti dinner, candles lit, a bottle of Chianti. And you know what? We're not going to get up to do the dishes until we feel like it.
Maybe I could do something like that with Lynette.
What do you got to lose?
Bert raises his glass of white wine.
Gentlemen, I'd like to propose a toast.
Andy and Carmine raise their glasses.
For the past year, we found each other in the arms of some of the world's great movies. Let's give every moment in our lives the same attention.
Hear, hear.
May we die rich with lovers and tribes.
Taste that we have swallowed.
Bodies we have entered.
And swum up like rivers. That's all I've ever wanted. To walk with friends on an earth without maps.
To an earth without maps.
An earth without maps.
They toast and sip their glasses. Their screens go dark. End of play.
Oh my God. That was beautiful. I mean, I was actually starting to weep myself. You guys, I have to tell you, there are so many things. Of course, the joy of live stream performing, live theater, just like anything else, things always inevitably go wrong. But when you have such great artists that are able to not only cover it, but to be able to just keep on going, that is a gift. And I have to say to you all, thank you so much. I want to bring everyone back again. Please, everyone, come on back, please. Woo! Oh, all right, John Little, Ben Rauch. Oh my goodness, David Harrell, Kristin Heckler, KATHRYN Grant. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much. I love this play so much. First of all, I happen to love all of the movies that they were talking about. So I would have easily fit into this.
You can understudy.
So thank you. Wait a sec. I have some weird music that's playing on my thing that's going. Okay. You guys. All right. First of all, I want to thank all of you. As you all saw, unfortunately, just so you all know out there, we're all sort of, as usual, beaming in from different parts of the world. I'm here in New York. Kate is in New York. John is uptown. You're like up in Inwood, aren't you?
Riverdale.
Yeah, up in Riverdale. Up in Riverdale, even further up. Kristin is in Washington, D.C. David is down in Georgia. And Ben is out in Tel Aviv, of all places, in Israel. So I hope you will forgive any of the technical issues, but come on, you guys, you covered that so brilliantly. I was sitting here saying, how, all right, do we jump in? No, we've got David, we've got John, they're driving the bus. We don't need to do that. You covered it brilliantly. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, all right, Kate, I have to start with you on this one because last intensive, we decided that we wanted to start developing a few plays a little earlier because I wanted, TVTV used to do a writer's workshop, and we really loved the writer's workshop, and I wanted to bring it back. So I thought, what a good way to sort of do that by asking some of our writers to participate in it. You knew who your actors were going to be, and you knew that Kristin was going to be directing early on. But how was this? Could you tell me a little bit how this play developed, as opposed to maybe when you developed other plays where you only had a much shorter period?
Well, it was a wonderful group of people, very gifted and also really good at articulating issues surrounding the craft of playwriting. So that was really great. And our leadership, Jeff, was incredible. And for me, it was, well, this is a very hard thing to do. First off, to write for Zoom. Secondly, to write for a particular group of actors as your, that's your given, and I must be kind of a, self-oriented writer because I find it very difficult. And for me, the pleasure of working with this group of people is, first, we brought in some pages, or, people could bring in the whole thing, but most people brought in about half the play. So it gave everyone a chance to know, okay, I'm kind of going in the right direction, or else like this needs, a lot of times people were like, in 10 minutes, you have to, inform the entire audience of who these people are, where they are, what's happening. And so, the main issues we were uncovering was clarity, where, how long is it going to take the audience to kind of like get out of the fog, or do you want them to stay in the fog? And some people did. And this play was direct and straightforward. There was really not a lot of mystery to it, but a lot of the other people were dabbling with different forms. So it was really interesting, and the camaraderie and the support was just fantastic, really.
I am really amazed by it because, yes, you are absolutely right. Writing in the short play form is really challenging. A lot of writers say you can't really write a play that's 10 minutes long, but yet I'm always amazed by the fact that you do, and you are just such a great writer, and I mean you've proven this time and time again. So I love this play so much. I think that we can go through all of our intensives, and you have a whole collection that you could you can actually create your own book from it all. So
yeah, and I also want to say I was fortunate. I mean, first off, I know John and David very well, and Ben. I immediately started thinking comedy because this group, I don't know what, it was very madly group. So I started thinking, but in a kind of a quirky way. So I started thinking comedy, and then Kristin came in and heightened all the right things and brought down the wrong things. She just was great at orchestrating everything. So thanks to all of you, and to you, Nick, of course.
Oh, no, thank you guys. I mean, again, just to remind audiences, even though we paired this group earlier, everybody was chosen randomly. So Kate did not have a choice as to who she was writing for and who was going to direct this play. This was just the magic of how it all came together and the collaboration. And this is still like work in progress. All of this work is, it can grow. It can become whatever Kate wants it to be. But it's just so much fun to see that this all came from something that, I mean, this didn't exist a couple of weeks ago. So Kristin, how about you? I mean, tell me what it was like to work with this whole crew here.
Yeah, so I was very excited to receive the script. It's a topic that I'm really interested in particular, like how can men express emotions in our society, and how there's pressure not to like things that are traditionally for girls. And so I really loved, especially like that their professions were these sort of professions that we don't associate with somebody who wants to watch movies like The English Patient. So I was drawn to the material right from the beginning. So that was really fun. And then the guys all took to the language really quickly. Like the first read through, we were like, okay, so there's some like pretty quick chemistry coming together. So one of the early things that we chose to focus on is what makes these three men different. Like, how are they? Because like a sensitive man is just not one type of human. There's like all different types of ways to be a sensitive person. So we tried to like find contrasting elements between them. And then with comedy, a lot of it is just focusing on the timing and making sure that things are going to land. And, this part's moving fast enough that we can like skitter onto the joke or whatever. But I was lucky that the material came out of the out of the oven, hot and fresh and ready. And everybody took to it so easily, and it was written in a way that felt like natural to everyone's rhythms. So yeah, that was the approach I took, but we had a lot of fun putting it together. So I was really glad to have this particular group for VPI 5.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You've got a dream team, including yourself, by the way. You know, this is just, I feel sort of fortunate to be able to say that, because throughout when we started this whole intensive thing, we didn't think it was going to be anything. We thought this is just something to keep us busy, you know, while we're waiting to, just like the movie club was just something to keep you going until now we're supposedly getting out, moving through the pandemic, but it has opened so many doors and so many possibilities for us as artists. A lot of things have changed. I mean, for example, I think when we did our first VPI, it was May. You had already left, Ben, for Israel, but we were planning work before you left on other projects. David, you were in New York for our last intensive, and now you've relocated, and now you're in Georgia. So I think the fact that we can still continue to work like this is a great testament to this type of work, which means that we have to continue doing it. I'm going to start by asking all of the guys, what's your favorite movie that makes you cry?
Well,
you
I
first.
Yeah, I have to say, I just saw Sense and Sensibility for the first time, and that is a beautiful, beautiful film. I would recommend it to anyone. Not so much The English Patient, but that's okay.
That's great.
Out, John, you are out.
Yeah.
But I love Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah, it was a great movie. It's
a wonderful film. It's like every frame is a painting. It's so beautifully done.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And when Hugh Grant comes back at the end, and oh come on, it's such a great scene for Emma Thompson when she just kind of loses it in front of him.
Oh yeah. And Kate Winslet was so good.
So wonderful. Yeah, it's great. It really is. Okay, David, how about you?
I don't know if it's a movie, but unfortunately we didn't get to say the line, but it's called The Midwife. For me. I cry at every episode. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna cry at this episode. It's not and then and it's almost over. I'm like, see, I didn't cry this, and then I'm a puddle on the floor.
Yep.
So, but Sense and Sensibility is also a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing, and some movies, when they're really well made, even if they're older movies. Now, this wouldn't be the movie, the other day, the movie Brian's Song was on. You remember Brian's Song?
Yeah.
Now, that was made in the 70s. That's James Caan and Billy D. Williams. Wonderful, wonderful movie. Again, football movie, right? And yet it's a five hanky weeper, man. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that because it's but I just think I love it. How about you, Ben?
Oh God, for me, the movie that makes me cry, like every single time I see it, like the script says, like a puddle on the floor. Die Hard 2 with Bruce Willis. I'm done on the floor.
Especially like at the end when he is on the runway waving the flames cause that. Oh, it's beautiful. It really is.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother blubber. It was just all
It really
gone
every time.
No, for me, The Notebook. I think it's just one of the greatest. The Notebook. If you ever see it with Jennifer Garner, I think who's Jen? No, maybe it's not Jennifer Garner. It's just you have to see it. It's just so good.
Oh, it's a wonderful. I think that they are turning that into. Didn't they turn it into or they're turning it into a Broadway musical?
They should.
Yeah,
they should. Like I was crying so much, like my popcorn. I was like, they put a lot of salt in this, and it wasn't. It was the tears that was like going in. I was like, this. Oh,
you guys. I loved this so much, and I am so grateful. I think we had a little, issue with we didn't get to hear the music at the end. So I'm sorry about that. I'm going to ask all of you to please tune in again. We're going to be doing the show again at 8:30 on Facebook. And we are going to make sure that none of this stuff happens, and you'll get to see the play in its entirety. But I have to tell you, you had to be thrilled that you got to see this tonight, because you got to see these consummate artists doing what they do and just being able to carry on. That's theater. That is what you would do on stage. You do the same thing here. So I'm so grateful to you all. I'm just going to keep this a little bit shorter tonight, because I want to give you all a little bit of a break. I can yammer on for days. So we'll maybe pick up in our next discussion after the next show. And I know, Kristin, unfortunately, you can't stay during the next show, but did you have anything you would like to say or you'd like to add?
Well, I'll stay through the show for sure. I just can't stick around for the whole talk back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think just keeping in mind that this is something that we have to work on. We have to get our boys able to be sensitive and express themselves. And it doesn't have to be hidden away in the basement in a secret movies club, and anybody can cry at any movie.
Absolutely. Are you kidding? It's that idea of, there's a lot obviously said to what society perceives in terms of gender identity, and we can really get into a whole long discussion about that, but I think the basic idea is the fact that we are all human, and while maybe some things you might be more emotionally susceptible to than other things, come on, we have to be able to experience that range of emotions. And I love this play tonight. Was so much fun. And yet it really does also touch and capture what we have been going through over the last year. I think what I'm looking for in all of the intensives that we've done is the fact that we've created sort of a real time capsule for the year that we've experienced, and all of the plays that were created can stand on their own. But yet, when you look at them when they were created, it really does sort of tell the story of what we were going through during this last year. So I am so grateful to all of you for sharing your time and your talents, and being a part of this work and elevating us.
Thank you.
So thank you guys all so much. And I want to thank all of you for watching tonight. Again, this is the opening night, so we are just getting underway here, and I hope that you'll tune in. We have so many incredible plays. This intensive, we really are exploring, and I know, Kate, you can, without giving anything away, you had several other writers that you were working with, and you can sort of attest to the fact that a lot of the plays that are being done are dealing with a lot of varied issues, a lot of sort of, I don't want to say supernatural, I don't want to say, but I think certainly that those elements sort of play into it.
Definitely. Or, questions about like, what is it all about? All of this, and how does it fit into, what I think of as my life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of it is thrown into question. This year has been a real, we say that we're at an inflection point, and I think that is absolutely true. It's almost as if our world had gotten to a point where we are so now polarized with a lot of different issues. And so it was almost like, someone stepping in and saying, you want to be polarized? Fine. I'm going to make sure that you all remain separated, and you have to wear masks, and you can't see each other. So maybe you can learn to appreciate how important you are to each other and how much you need each other.
I like that interpretation.
Yeah. And yet at the same time, as artists, we have to keep finding ways to reach out and express. So thank you. You guys, the fact that we haven't been in each other's physical presence over the last year, the fact that we're able to do this is, I would probably say, the next best thing to that. But I do look forward to being in your presence and giving you all a big hug when we can see each other. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please, it's the first night. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell everybody. Shout it from the rooftops, okay? We will be performing every night for the next, well, tonight until June 13th. 7:30, we'll have a show live here on YouTube. 8:30, we will be doing another live performance on Facebook. If you really like what you saw, friend us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Visit us on our website, www.tvtv.org. And if you really, really love us, at the top of the homepage, there's a little donate button. If you want to throw some material love our way, we will not say no, and we'll be very grateful to you for that. Because whenever you donate, you become a partner in our work. So thank you so much for that. Tomorrow, oh my goodness, we have another great show tomorrow evening by the brilliant Farida Ahmed. Farida has written several shows for us, and she has also performed. And in this intensive, you will see her as a writer and also as a performer again. The play she wrote is called Ghosts in the Machine. It was directed by Ashley Wren Collins, and it features another stellar cast: Scott Barton, Kalila Black, Samantha Debicki, and Jennifer Bradley. So I hope that you will tune in tomorrow night. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. And about 10 minutes, we're going to be on Facebook. So make sure you come and join the party again. All right. Have a wonderful night and happy Memorial Day. We'll talk to you. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.